That goes along with today's talk. Sets it up. Set it up, set it up. That's good. Actually, the highest calling of the soul, once we have figured out how to survive, once we've figured out that we belong, once we've figured out that we are worthy of contribution, the highest calling of the soul is to contribute. And you know when you've arrived when you feel like, what can I contribute, what can I contribute, what can I contribute? Even if it's a small thing. It doesn't mean like a big mass thing. It's like, how am I giving back to the universe that has been living in me? It's just, anyway, so thank you. I love that song. How many of you know that dictionaries pick a word of the year? I mean, like, isn't that funny? They pick words of the year, usually because they're in, like, lots of people are using the word, sometimes because the word has changed meaning, sometimes because it has changed form. And so the Cambridge Dictionary word of the year is manifest. Whoa. And part of that is because the word manifest has gone from a noun to a verb. I will manifest, like I will talk, I will walk, I will manifest, I will do this thing. So they said, well, it's got to be done. I was reading an article where there's just so much attention on manifestation. If you get on social media, how you want to manifest, now you can manifest. Rules for manifestation, tricks for manifestation, stuff that we've been teaching for a while, which is okay. Simone Biles, right? Simone, I got it right this time. It takes a village to work a minister. Oh, by the way, this minister's name is Kathianne Lewis, which I was introduced, and my pronouns are she and her, and I need to do that once in a while because I've been gone as well, and I'm back. And so back to Simone. Simone said she does well because she manifests the results she wants. This is a New Thought teaching, and in New Thought, we have been talking about this ability to make real the invisible. So ideas are invisible. Dreams are invisible. Great hopes are invisible. But there's a principle, a law that makes invisible visible. And it's now being taught and used and promoted by lots and lots of organizations and people. But guess what? We're here to do that as well. The difference is, they're teaching principle, how the law works. They're teaching all the ways that we would teach also, and I try to teach because I'm into manifestation, because I'm into miracles. So all of those ways are being taught, but here's the thing that we add presence. Because you can work it, or you can allow it to work. That happens through presence. Yes, there is a law in the universe for good, and we can use it, but guess what? That same law can use us to make even greater the dreams that the human mind can come up with. So those are the two foundations of what you get in this particular spiritual community. Presence. You're never alone. That presence within you is greater than you can even believe. I mean, because we're always in the development of our belief. And a principle that is in alignment with what we finally believe. So now you have a kind of a snapshot of what you just got yourself into in case you're here for the first few times. Ernest Holmes said it this way, that we are a synthesis of the discoveries of science. I'll let that go. And I'll bless it. The discoveries of science, the opinions of philosophy, and the revelations of religion applied to human needs and aspirations. In short, we use spiritual principles to heal hurts and build dreams. How many of you have a hurt that you'd like healed? You're in the right place. How many of you have a dream you'd like to make manifest? Yes. You are in the right place because that's my intention for all of you and for all of the people that will come after you, is that we actually live into the words of Ernest Holmes, that we heal hurts and build dreams. So, why don't we always manifest if the law is always working? And you could just think a thing and it might happen. Actually, with enough presence, you can think a thing and it will just happen. That's why I teach some of the things I teach. But what gets in the way is our low self-esteem or self-acceptance. So the more presence you have, the more it reveals how good you are from the inside out. Another thing that gets in the way is low concept of what's possible, which is your mental equivalent. I'm really comfortable with this. I know what this is, and this is scary. So that works too, because the presence will always be going push, because we are a center of divine operation, and the divine operation is for expansion and fuller expression. And so it will be pushing us like, that's nice, now let's go. That's nice, like this, go. And the presence leads us into a greater realization of ourselves and what's possible in us. I'm talking like a salesperson. My goodness. I mean, I just listen to myself. Wow, that's fast. Do you know that salespeople talk fast because that way you're not paying attention and you can't negate what they're saying? No, really, there's a study on that. So obviously God wants to sell you something. And also, there can be a low self-guidance system. Capital S, self-guidance system. We can sometimes be guided by what we were taught, what people say about us, what the norms are, instead of being guided by the higher self within. Presence helps with all of that. Presence. Yeah, is right. So one of the things that I love to put my attention on because I need to put my attention on it. And one of the things that we often talk about in November is Thanksgiving, not necessarily the holiday and all of the stuff around the holiday, but the gratitude that should be the foundation of that day. That could be the foundation of our life. Gratitude is a power. It's an actual power. There's a bunch of things that gratitude does, so let me just name a few. One, it makes us superhuman in our ability to stay centered, stable, and in turbulent times. Also, I was reading this morning in the Seattle Times, and there was an article on gratitude and how the studies are that gratitude makes you healthier. Studies are people that are grateful, just naturally grateful, like, did you know there's people that are just naturally grateful? Like they're grateful. And they are healthier, they live longer, and they have better relationships. I mean, come on. If you could put that in a pill, do you know how rich you would be? I mean, really. It's like, wow, take this gratitude pill and your life will be different. Woo. Instead, it's just do it. Don't wait to feel like doing it. Do it. And you become healthier, live longer, and have better relationships. I mean, that's worth something. But I want to get back to this thing. That was the Seattle Times. And that came after I did my talk, so I'm just throwing that in. Here's my talk. We can stay centered and stable in turbulent times. We become the eye of the storm. Stuff's happening, but not to us. Stuff's happening, but we're not disturbed. Jesus said it this way, and I've said this before. I broke up with Jesus, now we're talking again. Keep sending texts. Remember this? We have the opportunity to be in the world, stuff's happening, but not of it. We are of that presence, we're of that center, we're of that calm place. We are the calm place. And we can be in that calm place so definitely that we can radiate that calm place. Gratitude will take you there. How many of you have been in turmoil recently? You're so much more honest than first service. They're like, I'm fine. I'm thinking spiritual bypass. Things can be turbulent. Stuff can happen. It can be turbulent. We can be concerned. It's okay to be concerned and peaceful. Did you know that those coexist? Do you know you can be in grief and have so much joy that it's hard to explain? They're not opposed to each other. You are an amphibian of the universe. You have dual natures. You're human, and it's human to be concerned. It's human to be worried. It's human to be upset. It's human to be angry. It's human. And that there is a part of all of us that is like, boom. And you can operate out of there because you make better decisions out of there. And gratitude will take you there. When Tim and I came back from Egypt, there was no electricity at our house. But I was grateful that the person taking care of our farm, our little ranchette, had already started the generator. I was grateful that even though the wind blew off a skylight over my bathroom and rain came in, I'm grateful that he had already put the skylight back on and screwed it so it wouldn't come off again. I'm grateful that I was thinking about redecorating anyway. Do you see how stuff can happen, and yet look at all the good that's happening? For everything that is wrong, there is a multitude of things that are right. What channel are you going to turn into? Because when we come from a centered place, we are powerful. When we come from this other place, it is destructive, not powerful for good. Gratitude allows us to become optimistic, even in the presence of pessimists. And optimism is powerful. I was in Egypt, and I was moving into pessimism. Whenever the internet was up. And and it was down more than I've ever experienced in Egypt. So God was on my side. But here's the weird thing. This is the weirdest thing. Tim took his iPad. And I know what he has on his iPad because I've seen it. He's got all these books. He loves mysteries. He loves drama. He loves fantasy. He loves all of those whodunit books. It's just book after book after book. You know, the only book that he could read on his iPad in Egypt was Scientific Christian Mental Practice by Emma Curtis Hopkins. What the? I mean, he'd even forgot he'd never downloaded it. I probably had downloaded it years ago. It's the only one there. So because there's no TV at night, and we would like go to bed, or we'd wake up at 3:00 in the morning, and he was reading, and so he was reading Scientific Christian. I can't even believe it. Scientific Christian Mental Practice. And pretty soon he's like, I really get it. I get it. There is no matter. That took me decades. What? And then I'd get pessimistic about something, and I'm worried about something, and he'd look at me, and he was totally honest. He was not a platitude. He said, don't you remember God's in charge? wild. Wild. And then I'd be grateful. There was so much to be grateful for. I'm grateful that nobody got really sick. I'm a little tummy upset, but I think it was more nerves than anything. I mean, I've been on Egypt trips when it got upset. No COVID. One of the first few trips I've taken in a long time, nobody came down with COVID. Nobody had colds. What? There was so much to be grateful for. So much to be grateful for. It allows us to get unstuck because the mind can get on a track and just loop. How many of you have been there? We have within us, because we are those amphibians. We are human and we are spiritual. We are both. We're not just spiritual. We're not just human. We decided to incarnate. We are a spiritual being that decided to incarnate and be heavy, have mass. Made of spirit, by the way, according to my husband. and I believe it too. Thanks, honey. We decided to incarnate and have issues to deal with. Because otherwise, how do you prove love when all is love? How do you prove that spirit overcomes conditions unless you have a condition? How do you prove that life is eternal unless you're faced with the idea that something might die? How do you prove that freedom is a spiritual attribute unless you're afraid that you might lose it? Do you see? We chose this. And perhaps if you're here, then you might identify, like I do, with the words that were written in what we call the Old Testament, which was in the book of Esther. Perhaps you were born for such a time as this. Perhaps you're the ones that are to bring about a new way of living. Not at the material level, because we've tried that, haven't we? We've worked on that level, haven't we? Perhaps there's another level. I know for me, I am being called to work with the ideas of David Hawkins, which is the higher the vibration, the more it influences. But it influences from power, not influences from conversation or dialogue. Gratitude allows us to activate our ability to manifest a desired outcome. Gratitude draws great things to it. A grateful heart will draw great things to it. Why? Because if we were going back to that principle, the law of cause and effect, the principle says what you give your attention to increases. And gratitude lets you give your attention to that which is going right, doing well, something that blesses you. And so all that can happen is more blessings happen. All that can happen. I mean, think about that. All that can happen is more things happen. So there are books out there. Last I heard, there were 6 books on the gratitude principle or something like that, written by one of our congregants that moved to Texas, Mae McCarthy. And all of the power that she got, and she went from here to here in just wealth, just amazing wealth, because of gratitude and her ability to draw great things to her. The other thing that can make a difference to us when we're in turmoil, besides being grateful, is to then move out and do something as a contribution to others, to be good for others. To ask ourselves, not only is what is mine to do to raise my vibration, to not dwell, As for me and my household, we will dwell in the house of the Lord, which is to dwell in that consciousness of I am still spirit, but to actively up that desire to know spirit as well as we know what it's like to be human. Because we're both. One of the ways to do that is to find those around you that you can contribute to or care for. And to contribute and to care. Because when I was on the boat and we had a small boat to ourselves, and I would be praying with or working with other people, that contributed to my well-being. Being there for someone else to get outside of this self it just feels good. Contribution just feels good. I was listening to someone coming in today on the radio, and they are working with refugees, Afghanistan refugees in the Snohomish area. And I'm thinking, I'm from Snohomish. I didn't know anything was going on. And they need blankets. I think, I got blankets. My friends have blankets. I'm going to fill my SUV with blankets, and I can take blankets because I can do that, and it'll feel good. It'll feel good. So, if I put something on Facebook, I'm collecting blankets, then, yeah. Also, it's like, I got it. It's like, give other people a chance to contribute. We're having a coat drive. I told the people that I ride with, the barn, that I have a coat drive. Oh, can I give my coat? I've got lots of coats. I'm going to bring in so many coats because people were so excited that they had a place to contribute. So ask your friends. We're doing a coat drive. We're doing this drive. And they might want to give because where are they going to do it otherwise? Does that make sense? It's like so exciting. And also, these jackets are brand new because if you go to a horse show, you're going to get a jacket. Most of them will say, they're going to say Quarter Horse Association, but they're going to be nice jackets. And we can do this. It feels good. Also, rededicate yourself to your own spiritual game plan. Meditate. Look up. Pray to be used by God or Spirit for something greater than yourself. And when I say meditate, what I mean is being still is good, being mindful is good, but contemplate something like, Spirit, what is mine to do today? What's mine to do today? We up our spiritual game. And we hang out with like-minded people. See, community really is key. And I say that as a rugged individualist who'd really rather do my spiritual journey on my own. But I have discovered that spiritual journey goes faster with a group of people. I evolve when I hang out with other people. So, Ernest Holmes said that, and he said this at one of his last talks while he was still alive, and he's the founder of our philosophy. He was at Asilomar, which is a camp, a nice resort-type camp on the California coast. And he said, if there were just 1,000 people who practiced what we teach, we would change the world. And what I realize is that there are 1,000 people that believe in this, but maybe we just believe in this instead of practice this. Like, are we willing to practice over and over and over again that we are a center of divine operation and the divine operation is always for expansion and for expression? Are we really willing to practice day by day that I am the one that chooses my reality, I'm the one that chooses my response, I'm the one that chooses how I will show up, I'm the one that chooses what I will call myself, I'm the one that chooses that this is the day that I will be reborn into something greater? Are we really willing to practice that? Because when we start practicing that, that's going to start raising the vibration of everyone around us. Because we become a transmitter of possibility. A transmitter of possibility. So, let's pray. Oh, I have to do one more practice. You can keep playing. Another way to practice is to practice when it's uncomfortable. So many of us allow ourselves to become uncomfortable and we back away from a breakthrough. I was with someone on the boat that I really admired because they got really plugged in and angry about something. And from my point of view, it seemed trivial. But to them, it was a big deal. How many of you have been there? Like, no, really, this is a big deal. It's a big deal. And for them, it was like, oh, it's a big deal. And I said, you know, what I care about is really you. And since we can't change this thing, what's really going on? And as it turned out, they went through the discomfort and they got to a place where they saw what was really going on. And they could release that and everything else changed. See, spirituality isn't just the fun and games and the happy songs. It's not just the songs that open your heart and you raise your hands, you know, and you stand up and you go, oh, praise God. No, spirituality is not just when you're sitting on the bed in a lotus position going, Om, and you're chanting, it's good. No, spirituality really happens when you're disturbed, when you're uncomfortable, when you're ticked off. And you look inside and you say, what's really going on? And you let the Spirit of God within you heal what's going on. So you don't cover it up. We're not little kitties with a sandbox. Hopefully you got that image. I just came up with it. I thought it was delightful. Anyway. Instead, we say, no, make me new. Take this hurt and make it a blessing to myself and others. Take this resentment and make it a blessing to myself and others. That's where the work is. That's it. And boy, if you're into it, this is the place to be. Because we'll make it as easy and beautiful as possible to find our own divine self and to live from that. And so it is.